All right. Hello and welcome to AA episode 32. We're on the route to 50. Thanks for tuning in here today. It's quite a joy for me to be able to speak in this casual discussion today based upon an atheist comment that I've selected from off the internet, which includes my notes to guide me along for both our sake. I kind of got... what I kind of have going on is like that Disney cartoon duck. I don't know the name, but he had like this giant vault of gold. Instead of gold, I have a collection of atheist comments that we're going to use for good. And it's wonderful. It's so much fun. Anyhow, other typical introduction stuff real fast. The tie, showing off the tie. And ideally, I want to get things to be able to do these videos 5 minutes a pop, to be able to spread our butter further and to hopefully get a lot more videos in rather than take forever on one particular video. So anyhow, so we get off on the right start. I like to dish out a verse. So Jeremiah 17:9, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Who can know it? All right. Now, before I get to this comment, I kind of wanted to recap or readdress slightly the last topic, the climate change bit. That is such a darn deceptive terminology, one of many globalist terminologies to push globalism, to push New World Order type stuff. A very dangerous thing, with the implications of having to wipe out mankind, or most of mankind, to be able to save nature. So nature becomes higher valued than mankind. And the people at the top are not going to choose themselves. They're not going to choose themselves to go to fix mankind. They're going to choose everyone underneath. And we are heading towards the type of system described in Revelation. So anyhow, check out China recently. They got that kind of a thing, New World Order type thing going on, where if you deviate from where they want you, as far as I understand it, you kind of can't deal with money anymore. They got some sort of societal credit type system. So it is just very close. Very close. Stuff is so darn close. And they also have, everyone has a boatload of facial recognition type stuff going on as well. Lots of dangerous stuff has entered the fray that can be used for evil. But anyhow, I didn't want to give too much of a spiel there. Sorry. But let's get to the comment. You have no right whatsoever to seek to influence the choice a woman makes over her own body and her own future. I have the counter of all counters for this one. Ready? Except the fathers who pressure the women into getting the baby murdered so that they don't have to be men, right? So that they don't have to provide, lay their life down honorably to provide for the baby and the woman, the wife, hopefully. And then think about it. Think about it. Think about it. He says, you have no right whatsoever to seek to influence the choice a woman makes over her own body and her own future. Oh, dude, stomach, shut up. He's doing it right now by wanting others to keep quiet. Stomach, shush. Stupid drink thing. So this individual sounds like what, a communist or something. You have no right whatsoever. Sorry, but this is America, where we have our recognition of our God-given rights, the right to freedom of speech, to self-defense, this and that, you know. So it seems obtaining this kind of a response, someone was over the target. And from my understanding, the type of individuals who support this sort of thing, from my understanding, from what I've seen and heard and have known, is usually it's a person who was involved in some way, or a family member had something like that done, or a friend had something like that done. And one would be and then there's, of course, people who just support it by default, but I find a lot of them to be because either, you know, they as a couple were involved, so they support it because they had it done, or are choosing that, or like I say, family member or friend, and so some of that is people do not want to damage the relationship. They do not want to hurt their ties with family member or friend, and instead, inhonorably, I find, they decide to support their family or friend member or relationship person, romance person, in the decision to murder the baby. They support that rather than possibly offend someone or cause distance with them. That I find to be a part of it. But anyhow, what he says here, choice a woman makes over her own body. As far as I'm concerned, she already made the choice, number one. And number two, number two. No, I'm just kidding. Choice over her own body. What's involved? What's involved? Let's add a dose of truth to this, please. Let's add a dose of truth. You have the woman's body and the baby's body, the child's body. No matter how much time it took to develop, it's the child's body. Woman, child. We've all been there. In terms of having been a child and unborn yet, but, you know, on our way. So the choice over her own body thing falls completely flat. Falls completely flat. It's not an argument. It just falls flat in the face of truth. Two people are involved. The child and the woman. The mom. The mom. The mom. How a mom or a dad, how a mom or a dad could want to murder their baby, their own baby, just boggles my mind. Boggles my mind. How someone could even get to that point, I don't know. I don't know. But we all have our weaknesses, don't we? We all have our weaknesses. I am no better. I am no better than any atheist or otherwise. Anyone else on the face of the planet. Nobody. Nobody I am better than. So I just want to make that clear, because sometimes it's the case where people can kind of interpret that oh, this side of the fence is so tall and mighty. No. We make mistakes too. We mess up. We have our own weaknesses as individuals as well. We got weak spots. We have our own struggles. And all that. So, but woman and child. And a woman having a choice over her own body. The woman lives. The woman lives. The baby gets murdered. The baby gets murdered. I've seen stuff where they talk about it. I've seen stuff where they talk about it. I can't even mention it, but it's horrible that I don't even tear up by default from that kind of stuff. That should not be the case. It should bring people to just weeping about it, that it's going on all the time. I think there was something about more blacks being aborted than are being born. Not good. Not good. Not good. Not moral. Not moral. By the way, is abortion moral or immoral? Good little question there. Not good. And then another thing, I think I said something a long time back about black unemployment. Well, now it's record low unemployment, so that's good. That's good. That's the thing. A lot of places are, a lot of households are in just complete dysfunction. Lots of parenthood, fatherhood, motherhood, genders. It's all under attack. It's all under attack. The household, the family unit, it's under attack. But what we have is a lot of little beefs and troubles and mishaps and miscommunications and this and that. A lot happening, and most of it probably stems from households not having very strong fathers, very strong fatherhood. And if that stays strong, the rest will probably be strong and go along well. But anyhow, that's the problem with a lot of households, not just blacks. And by the way, saying blacks is not racist, it's descriptive. And I'm not white. I'm not white. That might be the normal description, but piece of paper is whiter than me, so I'm not white. I have a certain degree of melanin. so pigment of the skin, which helps with different sun type stuff. But anyhow, abortion is a terminology to be deceptive. To be deceptive. It's child murder. It's child murder by the parents even. Jeez. It's the opposite of how a woman, a mother, should act, but naturally, I would assume. I mean, not to completely throw people under the bus, because people can be forgiven of it, but some animals would just, probably fight to the death protecting their little ones. And here we have mankind aborting, murdering, chopping up, and selling body parts of aborted babies, murdered babies. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's very, very evil. And for one to speak, and to not allow another to speak, that's evil as well. To side against the voice of the baby who can't even speak yet. Why not let the baby decide? Why not let the baby decide? But abortion is not her body. Murdering the child is not her body. It's not her body. And what people don't talk about, as far as I'm aware, whenever I go on a topic, it's as far as I'm aware and have heard and all that. Abortion causes the woman harm. I don't think they're told that. But when you're preggo, your body, the female's body goes into a certain order. And interrupting that order, naturally, if God has it one way, and if people deviate, there's going to be a consequence. And that is a somewhat, I think, good evidence in its own for God. I kind of call it the moral consequential argument for God's existence, but I haven't done like a video on it. I'm not sure if I would even be the first, not worst, first. But yeah, abortion causes the woman harm. Because she interrupts the function of her body in, supporting the baby until it's ready to pop out. Ceasing that causes the body to probably go into a degree of confusion. And from that, as far as I've heard, the woman has higher rates of bad stuff happening. Cancer, not good. Higher rates of that for things. I think another thing was for them to be able to have a higher chance of depression and things like that. I think those were the two main things I had heard about, which are not good. If they could have it done and then, regret it later, which is, that's probably the case. A lot of them, or half, hopefully half. But it's not something to totally throw yourself under the bus for. but it is bad, wrong, and super evil. Super evil. But just think of the hypocrisy here. Just think of the hypocrisy. On one hand, people say abortion, murdering a baby, voiceless, defenseless baby. They call that a moral right. A moral right. Amusing, because rights come from God. It's quite amusing. But then on the other hand of the hypocrisy, someone would call out God's judgment, like the global flood, as, then they just throw out infinite labels at God. Oh, he's immoral, genocidal, judgmental, Old Testament maniac, warmongering maniac. The other aspect to that is someone with finite knowledge versus someone with infinite knowledge, all-knowing. And there's the difference, human versus God. God, creator, authority to judge his creation and to decree that you're not to murder. That's one of the 10 Commandments. It's pretty common sense, although people make mistakes. And certainly self-defense type things and war type things are pretty much on the table. Those things are okay. Self-defense or war type situation, as far as I'm aware, is okay. So tricky topics, though. Another thing I want to put in here. I cannot stand it when the media says that babies are mistakes. Babies are not mistakes. I hate it when the media says that a baby is an accident. Babies are not accidents. No matter what the circumstances, situation, or intention, baby is not an accident, mistake, or anything similarly. If such happens, it was pretty much what's it called? I forget what it's called, but it's a term, not presupposed, but theology term, predestined. Just like getting saved or not. A long time ago, I got accepted the free gift of salvation. So all along, I was predestined, and that happened, as far as I'm aware. But I think that applies to pretty much everything. I don't think it's the case that it's not on everything, because God knows what you're going to do and what's going to happen. So depending on how he would initially set the parameters on everything, he knows how everything's going to play out and how anything could play out. But he knows what's going to actually occur. He knows what people are going to decide and do. So essentially, I think it can be said that, if I understand it correctly, that everything is predestined to occur. So the thing is, when this kind of stuff gets pushed to a second phase, because this is just a phase 1 as far as I'm concerned, I have a suspicion that this is just phase 1. Preborn is just phase 1 of what abortion is going to aim for in the future. I'm pretty certain. I'm not fear-mongering. I'm calm as can be, but I'm pretty darn sure, unfortunately. So, the question is, who is going to stand up for what's right? Who's going to be not afraid to tell it like it is? Who's going to honorably side with the voiceless? Who is not going to be afraid to upset people or offend people? Notice, he said, and her own future. That implies for post-birth. That implies for post-birth. Oh yeah. Imagine it being shifted to up to 7 years of age, 7 years old. Legal. It's a woman's right, they'll say. And people will talk against it. By then, probably going to be the case where if you bring it up to them or disagree or whatever the case, probably get sued to oblivion over emotional harm, like the bakers. Or they'll just throw you in jail. And then think about the people who will be laughing and mocking at Christianity and bringing up, oh, they're all in jail. They must be so horrible. That's what they're bringing up anyway now. I can just see it unfold. I can just see it unfolding. I can see it. Well, Revelation told us things would get bad, but we gotta be willing to stand for what's right. Stand for what's right, no matter what. So, anyhow, it's very interesting, the China type stuff that I saw. It's like Mark of the Beast type, New World Order type stuff. Plus they got the facial recognition thing. Just bonkers. Where I think they mess with credit and thus anything financial. If you deviate societally, and oh boy, is that gonna come back to bite everyone, as far as I'm aware, and from what I know about it. That is really darn close to Revelation. Spot on. Revelation predicted it all. Just imagine them saying you can't do this or that or whatever the case, and they have everything to destroy anyone financially. Revelation talks about you can't buy or sell without the mark. China's just about there. They are like right there. Outside of that, people are getting chipped here and there for different reasons than that, but still, it's around. So, pretty bonkers. Anyhow, I gotta end this thing off. We're at a half hour. So, the Bible says something about there's no greater act than a man laying down his life for a friend. The Bible talks about the wages of sin being death. So the payment of sin is death. And with the greatest act type thing, laying down one's life, God stepped in, second person of the Trinity, Jesus, in the form of a man, about 2,000 years ago, lived a perfect life, willingly laid down his life to be able to redeem you and I. So, what you have to do is trust him, believe on him, what he did, died, and rose again the third day, and believe and trust on him. It's a free gift, free gift, free gift. We get the opposite of what we deserve. So people have a choice. Eternity with him, eternity without him. Type of a deal. Long time ago, I accepted that good deal. Very good deal. So, anyhow, I guess we'll do episode 33 another time. So thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for more AA. And I'm sure folks will let me know their comments. I don't usually talk about them, but just make sure they're within reason and preferably no swearing or cussing. So thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for more AA. Next time, 33. We're on the way to 50. I will see you, bad. As always, take care cool.